2015 is a year with a lot of sequels, a lot of reboots, and a lot of big name titles from high profile production companies. Here is my list of the top 10 most anticipated movies of 2015.
Number 10.
Kicking off our list at number 10, it was a tough one between either the Fantastic Four or Ant-Man. I decided to go with Ant-Man because look at what Marvel has done with their expanded universe within these past 5 years. I mean, look, we now live in an era where we get 2 superhero movies per year from Marvel. I may have not been blown away by the trailer for Ant-Man, but look at what Marvel did last year with Guardians of the Galaxy. They took a franchise that practically nobody other than avid comic book readers have ever even heard of, and it ended up being that successful, yeah. And it ended up being one of my favorite movies of 2014.
Number 9.
Next up, number 9 on our list is Ted 2. Seth MacFarlane came out with one of my favorite comedies of 2012 with the first movie, Ted. Then last year, he came out with A Million Ways to Die in the West. So that Seth MacFarlane can definitely write. I would love to see him actually redeem his career as a film director. With it being a sequel to my favorite movie of his, it looks like he could not only redeem the Ted franchise, but just his career in general.
Number 8.
Next up on our list, I just had to put it in the top 10 because of the fact that I'm a die-hard fan of Disney movies. Plus, it's actually based on the theme land of the same name at Disneyland, where I have so many great childhood memories at. Well, look, it's directed by Brad Bird, who really hasn't had a bad movie yet, and he even directed 2 Pixar films. Plus, it stars George Clooney, one of my favorite actors in Hollywood, I'd say. As we all know, Disney is nowhere near as successful with their live-action films. But with it being in the hands it's in, plus the fact that, you know, it's actually inspired by something at Disneyland, that at least puts some good hope into the film. As the teaser trailer at least did look appealing to me, I'll say that it looks like it has the potential to be a very good film.
Number 7.
I'm actually a really big fan of the Hunger Games franchise. The first Hunger Games movie was definitely at least in my top 10 of 2012. Catching Fire was a really good movie. And the last one, I mean, not really much happened in the movie, but as they were obviously setting it up, you know, they wanted to save the best for last with its hanging ending.
Number 6.
Terminator Genesis. Okay, I'm a huge fan of the Terminator franchise, but I just like to pretend that every Terminator movie made after Terminator 2 Judgment Day just never even existed. As the second Terminator movie is probably one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. It had a perfect conclusion to the story, and if they would have stopped it there, it would have just perfectly been fine. But nope, as it definitely did not have the most appealing trailer that I have seen recently. I just really want to know where they're going with the Terminator franchise. As this movie actually involves time travel, could this be the movie that erases its 2 awful sequels in the same way that X-Men Days of Future Past did last year? I really hope so.
Number 5.
Straight Outta Compton. It's a biographical film about my favorite rap group of all time, N.W.A. I actually grew up with rap and hip-hop music, and N.W.A. has always been my favorite rap group of all time, as they are one of the pioneers of the genre. I am very excited to actually learn more about the group's history and their origin.
Number 4.
Number 4 on our list is a very iconic film franchise that overstayed its welcome with its awful sequels. The first Jurassic Park film from 1993 is a classic, as The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 both lacked of the magic that made the first film so successful. Not only did it have a very good teaser trailer, but this film is actually once again focusing on the theme park on the island, which the two sequels both completely ignored and went with a very different synthesis. It stars Chris Pratt, for crying out loud, who has become one of my new favorite actors in Hollywood. Now, could both Terminator Genisys and Jurassic World be the revival films that bring back the franchise and erase its awful sequels away from the storyline? I sure hope so.
Number 3.
Now, I made number 3 on this list a two-way tie between both of the Pixar films that are coming out this year, which are Inside Out and The Good Dinosaur. Now, Pixar, arguably the most successful animated franchise of all time, has released multiple classics since they came out with Toy Story back in 1995. Then they went into a very brief dead zone era when they came out with Cars 2 and the movie Brave, which both went down as the company's two worst films so far. However, Pixar did prove that they can once again be the franchise that they once were when they came out with the Monsters University in 2013, which was a really great film that brought back the magic from Pixar. Making up for not having one film released in 2014, they will be releasing 2 movies this year, which Inside Out will come out in the summer, and The Good Dinosaur is expected to be released in November.
Number 2.
Marvel's hard work spending 5 years to get set up for the Avengers back in 2012 ended up being an ultimate success, as it went down as one of the greatest superhero films of all time. As the first film went down as one of the highest grossing movies ever, the team of superheroes is back at it once again, facing the most powerful opponent yet, Ultron. The teaser trailer for this film was just amazing, and it also hinted that this film may not conclude in the cliche of the good guys always winning. It's a really good time to be alive with the Marvel Expanded Universe coming out with 2 movies a year that end up being this good and then conclude with all of its heroes put together in one movie. Hell, Marvel even convinced their rival DC to copy them and then have them create their own expanded universe.
Number 1.
Finally, as most of you probably guessed, number 1 on this list is Star Wars: The Force Awakens. As I don't dislike the prequel trilogy in the same way as a lot of other Star Wars fans, it looks like my favorite movie franchise of all time did not conclude with the disappointing prequels after all. As the momentum in 1999 did not reach its expectations from when The Phantom Menace came out, the Star Wars franchise has been put in very good hands by Disney. Disney, as you know, has done an incredibly well job with the Marvel Expanded Universe, and as they're a company that always puts a lot of effort into their films, as nothing of theirs is ever too generic. Most of all, it's directed by J.J. Abrams. I don't know if they could have went with a better choice than Abrams. If you didn't know already, J.J. Abrams grew up as a fan of Star Wars, that it actually inspired him to someday become a film director. He directed the movie Super 8, probably my favorite movie of the year 2011, and he has done a really good job with the 2 Star Trek reboot films. Okay, yeah, I know it may sound pretty cheesy to direct both Star Wars and Star Trek, but if he can do a really good job, then that's all I want. I just want another really good Star Wars film. Is that a lot to ask for? As it is roughly a whole year until The Force Awakens actually hits theaters. The more I think about that movie, the more I wish we were closer to December 18th. 2015 will be a very highly touted year in filmography, as all of these very iconic film franchises will be coming out with more installments. I couldn't have picked a better time to start making reviews and movie related videos on this channel in a year with all of these highly anticipated movies. Do you agree or disagree with my list? Comment below. I'd also like to know, which films are you most looking forward to that come out in 2015? And as always, subscribe to get more reviews from Take Two Productions.